there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, Vince McMahon kicked out of WWE Creative.
WWE stars react to Vince McMahon's creative removal.
Title Tuesdays tonight, and Tony Khan is going completely nuts.
And an ex-AEW signing has been given a strange WWE ring name. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm excited for all of this.
Here we go. And this is the news.
All right, we're going to kick this thing off by talking about WWE Creative situation. Big story breaking last night. It began with Mike Johnson for PW Insider Elite stating that he didn't know for sure, but the belief within WWE was that Vince McMahon is effectively doing bugger all creative in WWE anymore. So the report was, Triple H is understood to be driving 99.9% of creative going forward. This is what
everything not involving Austin Theory.
Yeah, it seems that way. This is the belief within WWE from internal sources. They believe that Paul Levesque, Triple H, has essentially been knighted by Endeavour. They've taken the sword. In this case, it's probably a sledgehammer.
Yes.
And they've tapped him on the shoulders, and they've gone, go forth and write good wrestling, which is something increasingly that Vince McMahon is not capable of. So this is a whole... We'll kind of summarize our thoughts once we've gone through your story rather than kind of editorializing now, but this is obviously a whole saga. Vince was forced to resign in disgrace amid myriad sexual misconduct allegations in July 2022. When that happened, Triple H became Chief Content Officer and by default the head of creative. Positive stuff. Fan responses online, people talking about wrestling, feeling much better about the show. Lots of people coming back, lots of people getting pushed that weren't getting pushed before business, doing really well. It was good, it was great, it was fun. And then we got to January and Vince kind of crowbarred his way back into the company by saying, hello, board of directors, if you don't let me back in, I'm not consenting to a new rights deal or a sale of the company. And if you think that's just us making that up, nope, public documents are available online, you can go and find them. That's literally what happened. He came back by April. It was announced that Endeavour had taken over the company, or were about to take over the company. He sat there on TV and said, I won't be getting in no heat's a creative, pal. And then literally tore up the entire Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was there.
and that happened. And yeah, since then, it feels like barely a week has passed where we haven't gone, he changed Raw.
Yeah.
We got to the point where we were just utterly bored of doing those stories because it was every single week.
Poor Tegan Knox.
Yeah, I know. Like, he just scrapped stuff. That slowed down a bit. Obviously, he went for back surgery, so he wasn't working during that period, but now he's got 0.1% control. I don't know how they calculated that, but
yes.
I'd love to see the equation.
But how do the wrestlers feel about it?
They've all walked out.
Apparently, the WWE wrestlers are absolutely devastated about Vince McMahon being removed from creative. Oh no, wait a second. Look, the story upside down.
That's how words work.
A significant boost in optimism in recent weeks, according to Fightful Select reports on this. Yeah, a major upswing because that old git's not involved with it anymore. Now, most talent were never actually informed that McMahon had been making creative changes, but they have eyes and ears. So, yeah, come on. WWE personnel, as Andy and I are taking a I'll believe it when I see it stance regarding his removal. But someone did say, I think you can take a look at the show. Johnny Gargano is back after return was nixed, of course. Tegan Knox is on the show. Dragon Lee is all over the program. Carlito is finally factored in after being under contract for months. They didn't say that part. Cameron Grimes got back on TV. Bronson Reed is winning matches. Tag team titles and IC titles are getting long matches to end Raw. I'm not going to say that all these are direct results of the situation, but all those parts moving at the same time is a little too much to be a coincidence for me. And yeah, you can't disagree with those, really.
No, you really can't. You really can't. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think that the changes he's made have been pretty obvious when you watch the shows, and it's quite clear. It's not difficult to disseminate or tell the difference between a Triple H match or a segment and a Vince McMahon segment. Look, we've been watching Vince McMahon promoting wrestling for 40 years. I'm not that old, but you know, some people have.
About 20 years too long, really.
Yeah, 100%. So you know his patterns and everything else. Yeah, it's entirely positive. I don't think he will, but it would be awfully nice if Vince just pissed off.
Yeah.
Rode in the sunset. Like,
he's got more money than God at this point.
Yeah.
And just reading this, whatever you feel about watching WWE TV, and personally I think it's got vastly better since Triple H has been taken over creative, it is sometimes just nice to read that people aren't sad about turning up to work anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's a nice thing across the board. But let us know in the comment section what you
Yes.
think of this latest creative reshuffle in WWE. Have you noticed the difference? Do you like Triple H more? Do you like Vince more? If so, what's wrong with you? I'm joking. I'm joking. You can like what you like, but as a human being, he's a reprehensible piece of crap.
Yeah, if you like Vince McMahon, we could agree with you, then we'd all be wrong. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Boom. Let's move over. Let's talk about the Tuesday Night War. Can we call it? It's a one-off. You know the deal. AEW Title Tuesday, they got preempted by TBS.
Yeah.
They're going head-to-head with NXT.
NXT just doing a normal show, and now AEW Hotshot and stuff too.
How dare they?
You know, I love it. Every week on NXT, it's like, God, what time is the Undertaker going to be showing up?
Yeah, they play that dong every single Tuesday. So they obviously last week WWE announced a bunch of stuff. John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Asuka, Paul Heyman. They teased the Undertaker. The Undertaker's going to be on
It's going to be so fun.
It's about time they sent that 58-year-old man back to development.
Yeah.
He could really use that to learn how to work the hard cam.
Yeah, as he hit the road properly.
Yeah, gee whiz. So last night, things have taken a turn. AEW's obviously loaded their show with big names, right?
Yeah.
John Moxley, Edge, Saraya. There's a bunch of...
Hangman Page, Jay White.
Yeah. There's names on this show. They're trying to win, right? Last night, NXT announced 30-minute commercial-free beginning of the show, boom, 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 which is always a good idea because people tune out during commercials. You can boost your viewership, you can boost your demo, you have a better chance of winning the night. AEW a few hours later was like, hey, guess what? We're doing that too.
It's like the straw that broke the camel's back, this, wasn't it?
But then, yeah, the announcements, like Smash Mouth, rest in peace, they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming because Tony
Shrek's going to be on the show.
Yeah, Shrek, Taylor Swift.
Special guest referee of Donkey, I'm hearing.
Donkey Kong's going to be there.
Taylor Swift, that was a good tweet, by the way. I like that.
Grimace is going to be there. Yeah, it was shout out to the person who suggested it to me. But yeah, I can't believe Taylor Swift has jumped ship so soon after the Fastlane press conference. I'm not going to get that Io Sky Dream match after all. But what else has he announced? He's announced a 30-minute buy-in
for a TV show.
For a TV
Got
show.
It.
It's Eddie Kingston versus Minoru Suzuki.
I mean, great that we get that.
Yeah, so freaks like me were like, yes, give it to me. But, you know, he's done that before. Remember the Friday night Rampage SmackDown clash where we had the Danielson... Pardon me, my throat's dying. We had the Danielson Suzuki match and then the Bunny out drew Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah.
18-49 head-to-head.
I remember that.
Wild occurrences. Oh, yeah, and on top of all of this, there's a 10-minute overrun on Dynamite. So... for me, the real story here, right, is Tony. What Tony's been up to on Twitter.
Oh boy,
this boy has been posted, right. Tony Khan is proof that no matter how fat your bank account is, the poster never dies.
Yeah, I went on Twitter this morning after just to see, gauge reaction to Raw and what have you. More on that in a while because we've got a big podcast thing coming up. And I saw he did the tweet at 1 minute past 11 for Rating Dynamite, and I thought, oh, that's a bit spicy. Oh boy!
Yeah, he's up to it. He's up to stuff, man. He's posted is that Jeff Goldblum? Don't miss title.
That's your man from Succession, I believe.
Oh, it's not Jeff Goldblum.
No.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, it's him. It's Succession, man, I guess. He's done another one. Get behind AEW. Nobody does big events better than us. We're on our best ever run, and we'd love it if you joined us. He posted a Roddy Strong gift saying, who gives an F to someone who said they weren't going to watch the show.
Love it.
And then someone quote tweeted him and said, if Sir Vince McMahon said this, there would be many failed AEW fans crying non-stop and furious. Tony Khan replied saying, if Sir Vince McMahon said this, it would be the least of his alleged misdeeds. So there you go, the poster never dies.
Shoot season's back, baby.
Yeah, look, I think it's really weird to get angry with a wrestling promoter trying to win a ratings war by booking stuff. I think that's very silly. I still think NXT is going to wipe the floor with AEW tonight, but this is fun.
Yeah, it's insane this, isn't it? I mean... Look, I'm really glad this happened. We've got an awesome night of wrestling coming up.
We've got an awesome night on Twitter before Twitter turns bad in the aftermath.
Tony Khan bodying fools left, right and centre. I didn't anticipate it a few years ago, but boy am I glad it's here. And stop being so bloody tribal.
I wish Triple H did more of this, actually. Like, got online and went, yeah, Tony Khan, you little loser. You're 5'5".
Do you not think he'd be good at it? Adam Pearce.
Oh, God.
I think Adam Pearce had
he's always really kind to people on social media, though.
It's like Miller when he started going after Joe Hendry. I'm like, this is weird. I like it.
Yeah, what's going on? Where did this come from?
Anyway, speaking of AEW and NXT, Brian Pillman Jr.'s moved, obviously, from AEW to NXT. But he's not going to be called Brian Pillman Jr. in NXT. They've always been doing all those blatantly obvious teasers that it's Brian Pillman Jr. I think you saw half of his face the other week. But according to PW Insider, he's not going to be called Brian Pillman Jr., as I said. He's going to be called Lexis King. They filed a trademark for that.
It's trademark.
With the United States Patent and Trademark Office on the 2nd of October. I'm not going to read all the bollocks for what it's going to be used for. It's going to be used for him as a wrestler. But the reasoning behind it, we assume, is family stuff, basically. It references his sister, Alexis, who unfortunately passed away in 2009, and his mother, who unfortunately passed away last June, was Melanie Pillman King. So there you get Lexis King. He was also gone by the name Alex King earlier in his career as well. Weird that they aren't leaning on, obviously, that family history, considering Brian Pillman was a part of the Fed back in the day. But if you're going to give him a different name, or he's going to have a different name, I do like the sort of family stuff that's been factored into this, rather than just like Steve Radiator or something.
Zeb Dibadad, or something. It means something. So that's good. I think the initial reaction a lot of people had would have been like, why are they changing like a legacy guy's name? That makes sense. Like the obviously. Deep personal meaning these terms have to him, which is good. Also, it could be just a case of maybe he asked to go by a different name. Who knows? Like Ava Rain obviously was like, I don't want to be Simone Johnson on television. I don't want that legacy hanging over me, like indirectly will. Maybe it's a case of that. Who knows? But yeah, there you go.
Best luck to him in NXT.
Yes.
Looking forward to seeing what they do with him over there. And let's move on to your Twitter questions now. At WhatCulture WWE, of course, you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Harrison Hess, who says, "Hello, you infamously legendary legends." Now that's how you get your question asked on the news.
Nice.
Speaking of infamous, with AEW and NXT going head-to-head this week, what are the odds that Tony Schiavone has another, that'll put some butts in the seats, moment by revealing an NXT result? I love Tony, but had to ask.
Zero.
Yeah.
Number one, he's not going to get an NXT result. Unless they're taping 2 shows tonight, he might spoil next week's show. But nah, he won't do
Cena
that.
versus Taker next week.
Yeah.
One more match.
The legendary NXT rivalry, John Cena versus the
match that Taker wanted to have with Cena at Mania, they're doing it on NXT next week.
There you go, banger.
And they're just not gonna tell people about the other show.
Yeah, it's one of the historic banana skin moments in wrestling history. I think Tony is probably quite glad to avoid that.
Also, was it all his fault that? I feel like someone in his ear would have been like, a certain someone would have been like...
I mean, there was a lot of morons running that company. A lot of people who ruined a wrestling company who now somehow make a living from their opinions that people somehow value. It's really weird. Strange sport. Really strange sport.
Good day today on Twitter.
Hey, at least they never once booked a set of turtles and then professed that high flying kills wrestling, so... It could be worse.
Tully Television gives our second question of the day. Not lying.
Ring of Honor used to be really good until that guy got hold of it.
Hello, legends, right?
I'm not talking about Tony Khan either,
nope.
Sorry.
Is Christian actually the best champion AEW currently have? He's doing great heel character work. In my opinion, he made that belt matter.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is. I like his insistence that he's been champion for 4 months or something. I've really been into this run from start to finish. From the moment Luchasaurus won the belt and Christian was celebrating like he was won the World Cup or something. Yeah, he's the best champion in the company, I agree. I think that your subjective take on this, and it is subjective, there's no objective truth to any of this. It depends on probably your tolerance of like the brochacho stuff with MJF and Adam Cole. For me, it's kind of moved a bit beyond my taste, personally. But I'm glad people are into it. Like, I'm glad it gets reactions and sells t-shirts. But for me, as Christian, he's just the champion whose work I enjoy the most. And for me, that probably makes him my favourite champion. Yeah,
you know my love for MJF. I think he's absolutely sensational. I thought that ridiculous stuff on Twitter at the end of last week was, well, a load of bollocks, to be perfectly honest. And people just waiting for him to drop from 10 out of 10 to 9 and be like, oh, he's fallen off. I will say I think he's having the best champions matches still in AEW.
Yep.
But in terms of, despite his amazing mic work, and he's still capable of it week in, week out, I think right now if you said there's a segment of We Hear From Christian, and we hear from MJF. I'm more excited to see what Christian says, especially now he's got the Adam Copeland.
Yeah, me too. Like, for me personally, MJF's had a few misses lately. Like, I think what's he calling MJF? What's he calling Jay White?
Tofu.
That's rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, it's
I'm a fan of The Rock, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah, it's really lame, and I wish he would. I guess he's showing his range as an entertainer, and lots of people do connect with this, but I'm not into the comedy either.
I will say it is harder as a baby face to do that sort of shtick than your dad's dead as a heel.
Yeah.
But regardless, Christian just nails it every single time.
Yeah, I agree. He's doing great. And
So,
I can't wait for the segment when he lets Adam Copeland know that he has read the early life section of his Wikipedia page. That's going to be fun.
Oh boy. Final question today. Completely self-indulgent self-promotion thing for this, Andy. It's from Michael. He says, today's the day. I'm hyped. What time will the live pod be starting? Yes, today is the proper launch of the What Culture Wrestling podcast channel.
Put the wrong
Thought that was behind me, but it's fine.
Sorry.
It's the What Culture. I just saw purple. It's the What Culture podcast channel launch. From today, we're going to be doing daily video podcasts. If you're a fan of the audio podcast, do not worry. That is not going to change. But today, 3 p.m. UK time. I don't know. Work out when that is where you are. It'll probably show up on YouTube when you go in. If you're in bloody Australia or America or
10
wherever.
a.m. Eastern. On the West Coast, it's probably like Sunday or something.
But yeah, 3 p.m. the Dadley Boys will be reviewing Monday Night Raw. Join us for that, for the live Raw review. And yes, from today onwards, daily video podcasts on there. Go and subscribe because it's going to be ridiculous. Especially tomorrow.
Watch it at work, man. Just watch it at work. Who cares?
Yeah.
Capitalism sucks. Watch it at work.
We do the hardest work of all, so
This is the
do
most
join us for that
physically
one.
taxing job in the world.
Check out that video at 3 p.m. and check out this video right now.
Bye. It's probably
Somewhere around here.
probably over our hands.